It was a clear summer night in the Berkshire countryside, located in the gentle rolling hills of southeast England. The narrow, twisting backroads were still and quiet aside from the occasional car passing by. Few other signs of life stirred, but unbeknownst to sleepy villagers, a dark tragedy was soon to unfold in this tranquil rural community. On the night of August 15th, 2019, a gang of petty thieves prowled the countryside looking for trouble. 19-year-old Henry Long led the group, accompanied by his friends 18-year-olds Albert Bowers and Jesse Cole. They were bored youths from the region's traveling communities. With frequent run-ins with the law, they spent most nights out causing mischief in the small, rural towns nearby. As they cruised the narrow backroads of Berkshire, the gang came across an isolated property owned by a Mr. Wallace. In the driveway sat a prized 10,000-pound quad bike that immediately caught their eye. Sensing a thrill in stealing it, they gathered gloves and weapons from their car and approached the house, determined to make this bike their next score. As the gang approached the quad bike, Mr. Wallace was awoken by noises outside. Looking out his window, he spotted the group lurking by his driveway, carrying weapons and gloves. Recognizing them from an incident earlier that day, a frightened Mr. Wallace called the police to report an attempted robbery in progress.
Thames Valley Police, what's your emergency?
I've got 4 masked men outside my house and they've got weapons. They came round earlier and now they're in my house. They're at my property in Stamford
And
Dingley.
what weapons have they got?
Handheld things. They're all masked. They are gone in to break into something. They're trying to get into my garage or something. Oh, and they're stealing my quad bike. I'm going out there now.
No, don't go out there.
I'm going out there now.
No, because if they've got weapons...
Yeah, I don't care. I've got to protect that bike. They're taking the quad bike.
No, your safety is important. Stay in your property.
Please send someone. I'm going
Someone's
out
on
there
their way. No, don't go out there.
Have you sent someone or not?
Officers are on their way.
Yeah, they've already taken it. No, they tried to take the bike. They can't take it. They're going, I think. Yeah, they're backing in. They're backing into the property now. This is bad. They're going to try and come in here.
Are you able to get into a safe location, into a room?
No, not really.
Do you think they're trying to get into the vehicle to ram your property?
I don't know quite. I don't quite know. They tried to lift the bike and take the bike, and now they're pondering what to do. And I'll tell you what, that's not going to turn out well for me. I hope someone's on their way.
We've got several officers en route, okay?
I can't see any of them, and they're all out of the car.
And how many of them are there?
3, 4. Oh, they're dragging it up the road. They've got the bike out and they're dragging the fucker.
What, the quad bike?
Yeah. Yeah, they're
On their vehicle?
Yeah, they're dragging it up the road towards Touch Clump.
It'll be a silent approach, okay? Just because we don't want to make them alarm them.
The emergency dispatcher immediately put out a call for units in the area to urgently respond to the robbery in progress at the Wallace home. Meanwhile, PC's Andrew Harper and Andrew Shaw were wrapping up an uneventful surveillance shift and about to clock off for the night. Exhausted from the long hours, they were headed home when the alarming call came through. Although they could have ignored it or passed it off to the next shift, Harper and Shaw felt compelled to answer the call. They were dedicated to serving and protecting, and knew that they were in a position to help. As they flicked on lights and raced towards the quiet village of Sulamstead, neither officer knew that their decision to respond to the call would come at the highest price imaginable. At 28 years old, Andrew Harper was an imposing physical presence at over 6 feet tall, with a strong athletic build. But to those close to him, the police constable was a gentle giant, kind and humble by nature. Raised in a tight-knit family, Andrew was always willing to help out his elderly neighbors with yard work and errands. Though popular and outgoing growing up, he never strayed from his strong values and tireless work ethic. After graduating, Andrew worked construction jobs where his maturity and dedication stood out. But deep down, though, Andrew dreamed of a career in public service, driven by a desire to protect and serve his community. Inspired by an old family friend on the police force, he signed on as a volunteer officer at 19 years old. After years of volunteering while working construction jobs, Andrew Harper finally achieved his dream of becoming a police constable. He felt tremendously grateful to officially join the ranks of the force he long admired. On top of his professional aspirations aligning, Andrew's personal life could not have been better. He recently married Lissie, his beloved high school sweetheart of 13 years. Surrounded by loving family and friends, the childhood pair were basking in newly-wedded bliss. But merely 4 short weeks after saying their fateful I do's, the wheels of tragedy began churning on a dark country road. Despite all the promises life held, PC Harper was soon to pay the ultimate price in the line of duty. As PC's Andrew Harper and Andrew Shaw sped through the night towards the Wallace residence to respond to the 911 call, a strange procession was making its escape down a narrow adjacent road. The battered sedan belonging to Henry Long was towing the stolen quad bike behind it with the car's lights shut off to avoid drawing attention. Long and his companions had perfected this scheme over years of practice. They knew attempting to ride or push a bulky quad bike away from a robbery scene made getting caught more likely. So they developed a system: steal a cheap, fast sedan to serve as a tow vehicle. The group would tie one end of a tow strap to the quad bike's handlebars and the other to the sedan's rear chassis. With its engine off and gears disengaged, the freewheeling quad bike was then tugged behind the car to transport it quickly and quietly from crime scenes, while one member of the gang rode the quad bike steering by hand to keep it following behind the tow vehicle. This maneuver allowed the gang to quietly move the quad bike from the scene of the crime while ensuring their ability to unhitch and make a clean getaway if cops arrived. Their plan was that as soon as they encountered the police, the rider would unhitch the rope, jump off the quad bike into the sedan, leaving the quad bike behind as they escaped the scene with the rope still tied from their car's rear. This is exactly what happened on the night of August 15th, 2019. As the patrol vehicle crested the hill, making its way towards the crime scene, PC's Andrew Harper and Andrew Shaw suddenly came upon the bizarre theft scene unfolding ahead of them along the narrow dirt road. Henry Long's battered sedan was still silently towing the quad bike away into darkness. Immediately upon spotting the strange scene, PC Harper activated the patrol vehicle's flashing roof lights, alerting the thieves to police presence. As soon as they spotted the police lights, the gang sprang their getaway scheme into action, just as they had rehearsed many times before. The steersman riding the quad bike quickly dismounted to unhook the tow strap from its handlebars, then ran towards the car so that he could leap through the sedan's open passenger side window. With the car now freed from the extra cargo weight, Lang floored the accelerator as the tires peeled away, throwing plumes of dust toward the hilltop where the patrol car was positioned. Immediately realizing what was happening, PC Andrew Harper was quickly out of the vehicle, sprinting on foot after the thieves to prevent their escape. But as he closed the gap, the officer failed to spot the looped end of the tow rope still trailing behind the sedan's swerving rear bumper. Harper unwittingly stepped into the lassoed loop as it snaked past. In an instant, the rope cinched tight, yanking the constable's feet forward as the sedan surged ahead. The moment the tow rope snapped taut around PC Harper's ankles, it violently wrenched the constable off his feet, slamming him onto the hard-packed dirt road. He struck his head with enough force to immediately lose consciousness. Now unconscious, Andrew's feet remained helplessly ensnared as he was dragged at increasing speed down the country lane behind the sedan. Inside the speeding getaway car, the teens likely felt the sedan jerk and sway as it struggled against the heavy burden caught behind. Yet amidst the frantic escape, they blocked out any thought of what or who could be causing the drag. Adrenaline flooded their brains with one solitary impulse: escape capture at all costs. The driver jammed his foot down on the gas, lurching ahead without a thought of what was being dragged behind. At this point, he was far enough ahead of the patrolling police car that he could have stopped his car and checked what was being dragged behind. Yet he decided to rather crank up the radio, to drown out the sound of the unnerving thump and rattle behind them. They recklessly swerved their vehicle side to side, viciously whipping PC Harper across the ragged ground, tearing his skin and his clothes right off his body. This went on for one agonizing mile before PC Harper's body was finally dislodged, as the rope finally snapped, slinging him to the side of the road where he succumbed to the horrific injuries sustained. Meanwhile, a little way back, PC Harper's partner Shaw drove slowly, puzzling over his colleague's disappearance. Just minutes ago, he watched Harper dashing after the suspect's car on foot. Yet now scanning the vacant midnight roadside ahead, things weren't adding up. Where did Harper go so quickly? With unease rising, PC Shaw carefully eyed his surroundings while inching his vehicle forward. As he continued down the dark country road, his headlights illuminated debris strewn oddly across the dirt lane. His stomach dropped as he recognized shreds of his partner's police uniform, and he started piecing together the ominous implications that Harper had become ensnared by the fleeing perpetrators. With his unease now turning to alarm, Shaw accelerated quickly forward, finally coming across Harper's body crumpled beside the road, broken and unmoving. He leaped from the patrol car and rushed to his partner's side, but he immediately realized it was already too late. He grabbed his radio and urgently called help. In the hours following the shocking incident, Thames Valley Police assembled a major task force to hunt down PC Harper's killers. A force helicopter equipped with powerful thermal imaging cameras began an aerial search of the remote countryside below. Detectives analyzed dashboard footage from Shaw's patrol vehicle that captured the blurred images of the attacker's vehicle fleeing into the night. Forensics teams swarmed the rural roads, searching for any evidence the perpetrators left behind in their reckless haste. Local officer interviews supported a disturbing yet growing consensus, and clues pointed toward a group of boys well known for petty crimes around the rural villages. Police got news that the boys could be found in the remote Four Houses caravan park. So, under cover of darkness, a heavily armed convoy of armored police vehicles descended on the isolated camp.
I'm gonna I'm gonna need some names first.
Right, that's Henry Long. Yeah, Mike Henry Long. Hey, I'm Henry Long, yeah.
Henry, can I grab your date of birth?
28 for the 4th.
4th, yeah.
28 for the 4th.
Yeah.
2001.
2001.
Yeah.
And I'll get your details and I'm going to tell you both what's going on simultaneously. Do you live here at Four Houses, do you?
No, I live in Newbury.
All right.
But my car's got a puncher.
That's all right. That's right. Just know you're on body one video as well.
Yeah,
what?
And obviously I couldn't get back over.
All right. What's your address, Henry?
My address is Craven Road.
Craven Road. What number Craven Road?
Number 9, Newbury.
Craven Road.
Newbury. Right. Yeah. Don't twist it because it hurts you. Yeah, I know. It's going to get me in a good spot. Yeah, that's a good spot there.
Right, young man. I don't know you, but I do know Henry.
Yeah.
What's your first name?
Albert.
Albert?
Yeah.
I'm going to guess your last name, but you're going to tell me it's not Bowers, is it?
Yeah. Definitely is. Yeah.
Albert Bowers. We've met before. I don't know your date of birth, though, Albert.
30th of March.
Yeah.
2002.
2002. Where are you living now, Albert?
Mortimer.
Whereabouts in Mortimer, though?
Windmill Corner, isn't it?
Yeah. What number Windmill Corner, though?
I don't know what number. I've not been in there for long.
That's all right. Right, so I'm Police Constable 2388 Simon Denton.
Yeah.
I'm actually from Tadley Police Station.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Hampshire. Okay, and the time right now is 00. So that's midnight 57.
Yeah.
It's the 16th at the minute of August 2019. I'm arresting both of you on suspicion of murder. All right, and that's of a Thames Valley police officer. So it's suspicion of murder of a Thames Valley police officer. All right, and that's happened, I believe, down on the A4 tonight. All right, that would have been sort of past just before midnight, probably, or around midnight. All right, so both of you, you don't say anything, but it may harm your offence if you do not mention when questioned, which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand? Now, I know you don't know this, but murder's a common law, so I don't need to give you necessity, but I will give you one anyway. Prompt and effective, and to stop both of you, your disappearance. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right. Oh.
Right? All this for a load of what?
Well, a load of what? It's suspicion of murder. It's quite a serious offence, to be honest.
It's serious to you.
All right.
Look, how do you expect me to know about Newbury? Like, what have we done?
Well, we're going to work that out. That's why it's prompt and effective investigation and to work everything out.
Does it look like I've done a murder? No, because it's upsetting. It's upsetting. They just called me a murderer.
All right, so you two both understand? So transportation's going to be gained for you, and then you're going to leave, all right? Thank you very much.
Following their arrests, the group of boys were transported to the courthouse to face formal charges over PC Harper's killing. Prosecutors charged the boys with murder, citing forensic evidence that the group understood the dangerous consequences of dragging a person at high speeds and that they had used this hazardous getaway method before. They were adamant in asserting the boys understood they were dragging a human behind them yet they accelerated further. The defense, however, staunchly maintained the boys' innocence, claiming the sequence of events was an accidental tragedy. They claimed the boys had no knowledge of PC Harper becoming trapped by the trailing tow rope and said that they had no intention of killing anyone. The boys said that their intentions were just stealing for fun and that they were not out seeking violence. The prosecution would, however, point out that the boys brought along weapons including a crowbar, pipe wrench, and axe to the scene, signaling their intention to use force if confronted. But once again, the boys maintained that the weapons were nothing more than tools to aid their theft. Throughout the legal proceedings, the isolated community stood steadfastly alongside their accused young outcasts, despite the shocking evidence against them. Relatives dismissed all proof as police harassment, insisting the well-known troublemaking teens held no maliciousness in their hearts, and that the officer's horrific death was a tragic, unforeseen accident. The defendants, who were likely emboldened by their community's ardent support, showed blatant contempt for courtroom formalities and the grieving families suffering alike. They treated the proceedings as if it was a casual social gathering, continuing to joke and laugh over shared whispers, and even jostling one another, playfully causing even more grief to the family of PC Harper. After a grueling 3-week trial, the jury ultimately delivered a devastating compromise verdict of manslaughter rather than full murder charges. Due to their youth, defendants Henry Long, Albert Bowers, and Jesse Cole escaped automatic life sentences. Long, who was the driver of the vehicle, received 16 years in prison for manslaughter, and the passengers were both sentenced to 13 years each, totaling 42 years for the offense. In the painful months that followed, PC Harper's dignified yet heartbroken widow Lissie petitioned unsuccessfully to appeal what she felt were unduly lenient sentences for cruelty robbing her of a loving husband.
I'm pretty appalled that these people, having shown no remorse throughout the whole trial, now think that it's within their right to appeal that. Already the sentences are far too lenient, and they think, well, let's give it a go. Let's see if we can get off, and that feels just totally wrong to me. Hence why this campaign is so important. Losing someone in that way, you can never prepare yourself for. And just dealing with the grief is a tremendous effort. So when it comes to the court case, you do just think, well, this is going to be hard, but we'll get through it. And at the end of it, Andrew will have some justice. And for that not to happen is heartbreaking. And I felt this an overwhelming sense of disappointment for him, because I thought that he'd been totally let down. And that's what brings me to creating this new law, like something to make a change that we all can see really needs to happen. With Harper's Law, I want to create a brand new law that sees our emergency services workers protected for the job that they do. They go out every day and put themselves in harm's way. And we don't really offer them the protection that they need. This is kind of the only thing that we can offer them. Possibly a deterrent, but also, some form of justice should the worst happen to them.